Good morning, everyone. My name is MightyStream. Today is September the 19th. Tongue-tied there. Good morning to you. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. I hope everyone is doing excellent this morning. I greet you. Let's go ahead and get into the just for today. I've been having so many technical difficulties that this is actually my fourth taping. So I'm hoping that this will come through clearly for you. September the 19th, called Fellowship. In NA, our joys are multiplied by sharing good days. Our sorrows are lessened by sharing the bad. For the first time in our lives, we don't have to experience anything alone. And that comes from our IP number 16 for the Newcomer. When we practice using the steps and the other tools of our program to work through hardships, we become able to take pleasure in the joys of living clean. But our joys pass all too quickly if we don't share them with others, while hardships borne alone may be long in passing. In the Fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous, we often multiply our joys and divide our burdens by sharing them with one another. We addicts experience pleasures in recovery that sometimes only another addict can appreciate. Fellow members understand when we tell them of the pride we take today in fulfilling commitments, the warmth we feel in mending damaged relationships, the relief we experience in not having to use drugs to make it through the day. When we share these experiences with recovering addicts and they respond with similar stories, our joy is multiplied. The same principle applies to the challenges we encounter as recovering addicts. By sharing our challenges and allowing other NA members to share their strength with us, our load is lightened. The fellowship we have in Narcotics Anonymous is precious. Sharing together, we enhance the joys and diminish the burdens of life in recovery. Just for today, I will share my joys and my burdens with other recovering addicts. I will also share in theirs. I am grateful for the strong bonds of fellowship in Narcotics Anonymous. Let's take a moment of silence followed by the we version of Serenity Prayer. Thank you. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Please and thank you. How well are you doing about sharing your joys and your burdens? Many people come into Narcotics Anonymous and they never get to the point where they actually feel a part of. Their life is their own. It's an anonymous program, of course, so that you don't have to share your last name, where you work. You don't have to share how many kids you have, or even that you're married or not married. But a lot of times, the things that trouble us that we used to use about deeply involve those emotions and feelings we have in relationship to the people in our lives. So a lot of times we end up, if you will, spill the beans. We end up spilling the beans about what we're going through and give little details about who we are. But sometimes we find ourselves thinking, that was way too much. That was TMI. I should not have shared that. And I wonder where that comes from. This is a fellowship where we're grouped together with people that we have similarities with. The main thing that we have in common is our disease of addiction. This is no more different than, say, a cancer survivor support group, um, an eating disorder support group, grief support group. This is, in many senses, even though we don't use the terminology support group, this is in many ways a fellowship where we can come in and find camaraderie, fellowship. We can, if you want to, philosophize about the traditions and the steps and the spiritual principles with each other, have beautiful conversations and sometimes not so beautiful conversations when we disagree. This is a place, if you want to, you can use it as a tool to help you cope with your hardships. Everyone has a voice here. There's no big I's or little U's. Yes, there's a chairperson. Yes, if you're on the Zoom meeting, there's a host, right? But everyone can have the same amount of time to share where they're at. If it's a closed meeting, the qualification is that you have admitted that you are an addict and you are a member of Narcotics Anonymous. There's no membership fees, so don't get caught up on that. That's not what we're talking about. But we are talking about individuals that understand that they have the disease of addiction, and the only requirement for membership is a desire to stop using. It does not mean that you have perfectly stopped using. Some groups will qualify that if you have used any minor mood-altering drugs within the last 24 hours, we ask that you not share today. But when you get day 2, when you move into hour 25, we welcome you to share with us how you stop using for one day. Okay? So there's not a lot of things. There's not this huge checklist that a person has to go through to be a member of Narcotics Anonymous. So in the closed meeting, the people that identify as addicts in recovery have an opportunity to share. And some groups don't even have a time limit. You know, they just believe in share till you're done. Now, if you get too lengthy and you find yourself 30 minutes into your share and the meeting only lasts an hour, yeah, someone's going to stop you because we want to share the time. But a lot of times, people that come to those meetings, I find myself in this situation. I don't necessarily even need or want to share. I want to do service work. I want to show my support of other newly recovering addicts that have a lot on their mind. I'm just a sounding board. I'm sitting there listening attentively. This is a place where you can come, complain about everything that you need to complain about, share the joys about everything that you want to share the joy about, and walk right out the door like it never happened. The benefit is not only to yourself, because your pains are lessons and your joy is spread, right? But to someone that may be able to identify with that circumstance or with that emotion and think to themselves, you know, I have used many times over that very thing. I want for you to open your mouth today. I want for the next NA meeting you go to be the meeting where you show the newcomer that this is a safe place for them to come and share their experience, their strengths, and their hopes, the negative ones and the positive ones. And hopefully it's not a meeting where there's a lot of crosstalk. Newcomers have a tendency to ask for suggestions. And then the whole meeting turns around and becomes a suggestion type meeting, a crosstalk meeting where people are just giving advice to the newcomer. But hopefully you'll be the wise one in the meeting if the newcomer is saying, I just don't know what to do. My husband has beaten me and I don't have a place to go. with me and my kid, if they share something like that, or maybe it's a man, I don't know what to do. I just got a treatment. I know my wife hates me. She doesn't want anything to do with me, but we're married and I know I can do it. I know I can do it with you guys and your help. Maybe you're going to be the wise one in the meeting that says something like, we try not to cross talk in this meeting, but because you're asking for some suggestions, a few people may try to give you some suggestions by sharing their own experience, strength, and hope. But I have a similar experience and I would love to talk to you after the meeting. And then go on with your share. And then go find that newcomer after the meeting. Say, hey, do you got a few minutes? You want to sit down and have some coffee? I'd love to talk to you about what you brought up. You know, I'm working on a master's to be a clinical mental health counselor. And there's no doubt in my mind that I'm in the right field. I'm just surprised how expensive it is to get a master's degree, less known a doctorate. And I would still have to say that some of the best feedback, some of the best therapeutic feelings that I have ever had have come through Narcotics Anonymous. There was no sugarcoating, nobody trying to word everything just right, no one worrying about ethical standards, right? We have traditions, but no one worried about, not stepping on my toes, right? No. It's a world of a difference what a therapist has to go through in order to be there for you, right? That's why we say the therapeutic value of one addict helping another is without value. You can't put a price on this. And I hope that you begin to come into the rooms and enjoy the therapeutic value of recovery, sharing your joys and your burdens with other recovering addicts. And let them share theirs as well. And be grateful for the strong bonds of this fellowship of NA. Many people wish they had it, but for one thing is for sure, you do. Thank you for listening, and I will be talking to you tomorrow.